Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Friday. We made it to the weekend. I'm liking my beard. What is this, like week 3 of my beard or week 2 of my beard? And I'm liking today's show a lot. We have a lot to discuss. I don't want to waste a lot of time because, you know, we have tremendous things to discuss, including Shedeur Sanders makes his debut tonight in the NFL preseason against the Carolina Panthers. We'll start there. I got some things I got to get off my chest about that. Then we'll bring in Steve Kim. We'll talk a little bit more about Shedeur. Anthony Richardson, the quarterback for the Colts, hurt his pinky finger last night, and his career as a starter is probably done. It's just 2 years in, and he is toast, in my opinion. We'll get into that. There was another pipe bombing, this time in Chicago, and actually 2 pipe bombs, the Dildos, hit Chicago last night. One made it onto the court, the other one didn't. We'll discuss that. There are people, Cheryl Reeves, the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, has had some things to say about that, and we now have someone claiming credit. A crypto meme coin group is claiming credit for the pipe bombs. And I want to play you, Dave Portnoy put out his own little promotional video about joining Big Noon Kickoff in college football. So we'll get Steve Kim's reaction to that. And then we'll end today's show with me in a panel discussion. Panel discussion as the WNBA turns. The Fever got the brakes beat off them last night, and we will discuss that with some YouTubers that I'm anxious. I think, well, I can't remember who's on. One guy's been here, one guy hasn't. Anyway, it's going to be an awesome show. I want to thank CB Distillery for making today's episode possible. CB Distillery's VIP sale is on right now for a few days only. You can save up to 50% on everything with code VIP. If better sleep, less stress, pain and relief, or after exercise sound good to you, you need to hear about CB Distillery. They have plant-based solutions for just about everything: sleep, stress, mood, focus, even pain after exercise, all made with high-quality, clean ingredients. They even have CBD for pets. Many of you are already feeling the difference, especially with their sleep products. Look, if you're still tossing and turning at night or struggling with another health concern, make the change to CB Distillery, and now's your chance to save big with code VIP. But this deal won't be around long, so don't wait. Visit cbdistillery.com and enter the promo code VIP to save up to 50% on everything. That's cbdistillery.com, code VIP, cbdistillery.com, code VIP. It's not available in Idaho, Iowa, and South Dakota, but it is available here in Nashville, and I will be partaking tonight. I was just telling T.J. Moe, who's here in studio with me, once again, that, me and my Stairmaster, we're at odds with each other. Me and my cold tub, we're at odds with each other. The other weird thing that I do, TJ, I can't waste time because I got stuff I got to say, but the other thing, like when the Fever play, and they played last night, I watched the game upstairs on my Stairmaster, and I'll hop off my Stairmaster and hop on a massage table at my home, and I'll sleep on my massage table until about 3, 4 in the morning. That's never a great sleep, sleeping on massage table. Anyway, so wow. I'm going to be partaking in CB Distillery.
Why do you do that?
Because I get comfortable. The game ends around 11:15. Then I hop over to YouTube to see what people are saying about the game. And then I just am halfway comfortable, and I'll say, I'm just going to doze here for a moment. And I get up about 4 a.m., take a piss, and go downstairs and sleep in my bed.
You don't have to take a shower before you sleep?
Not when I'm that exhausted, no.
Man.
No. Anyway, it's a weird deal. And you'd have to, anyway, I'm a weird person. So let's get into today's show. Shedeur Sanders. He's a contestant. He's been drafted into the Victim Olympics. Shedeur Sanders has won the gold medal in the Victim Olympics, according to Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is convinced that, or is trying to convince the sports public that Shedeur Sanders, starting tonight against the Carolina Panthers, who have been one of the worst teams in the NFL the last couple of years, that somehow this is a setup for failure. He's not the only one making this argument. We've heard Louis Riddick earlier say that Shedeur Sanders is skating uphill and that the Cleveland Browns organization just has it in. Shedeur Sanders, we'll hear from Stephen A. I'm going to play the clip, and then we'll hear from Dan Orlovsky rebutting it. And then I got some things I got to say. It's just how getting a starting assignment against the Carolina Panthers makes you a victim, how that's a setup. It blows my mind. But let's listen to Stephen A. Smith.
But I'm going to answer this question by saying Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been starting against he's been playing against the third unit. He's fourth on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that. So you're just going to throw him to the wolves like that, huh? I mean, you know, if he had first team snaps in practice, I don't say that. But he doesn't, and then all of a sudden he's starting tomorrow night. It's like you want him to fail. I'm not accusing the coaches of doing this. I'm not accusing the GM of doing this. But that owner, Mr. Haslam, that's a different animal right there. Mr. $230 million guaranteed deal to Deshaun Watson. And then he's going to come out this time around. I had nothing to do with this pick. I didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, that wasn't me. That was GM Barry. That wasn't me. The owner sitting up there. It wasn't me. Wasn't me. Yo, it wasn't me. That's what he was saying. And I'm saying, really? That's what we doing now?
And that's what I'm saying. Really? That's what we're doing now. That starting an NFL game in the preseason is a setup for failure. It's not seen as a golden opportunity. It's framed as you're being set up for failure. Before I go off on this, I'm going to let Dan Orlovsky, who works at ESPN, fire first. Let's hear from Dan Orlovsky.
Will everybody stop with the Shedeur Sanders is being set up to fail narrative? Who do you want to start the game? It's preseason week 1. First option, Joe Flacco. He's played for like 20 years. He's not going to start preseason week 1. The next 2 options would be a Kenny Pickett or a Dylan Gabriel. Both are dealing with hamstring injuries. Neither has practiced a ton recently. If they've done anything, I believe it's been 7-on-7. Who do you want to start the game? The next 2 options are Shedeur and Snoop Huntley. Shedeur's been there. Snoop Huntley just got there. So while Shedeur may not have had reps with the ones, what else do you want them to do in Cleveland? It's an opportunity for him. It may not be the ideal opportunity. Very rarely is it for a 5th-round pick, but it's an opportunity for him to go out there and do in a game what many have reported he's done in practice. Stop with the setup to fail narrative.
Thank you, Dan Orlovsky, for pointing out the illogic and just the new, like, Flacco is 56 years old. He doesn't need preseason reps. They've had injuries to their other quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel. It's football, sports, competition has always been next man up. Next man up. This is my problem with Stephen A. Smith and many of the black broadcasters that constantly want to turn black men into victims rather than warriors, rather than competitors, rather than opportunity seekers. Everything is about, we're being set up for failure. Don't you know they put drugs in the black community? Don't you know they put guns in the black community? We see nothing as glass half filled. We see nothing as an opportunity for greatness. This is my huge, huge problem with Stephen A. Smith and his fraudulence. This man claims in a book, in a memoir, he went on podcast tours telling a story of, yeah, in 1987, whatever, 88, I can't remember, a guy that used to play for Big House Games at Winston-Salem State, he gave me a playground tryout in February in New York City. And I was so impressive in that playground tryout in New York City in February. Think about February, New York City. What's going, cold weather, snow, what, playground. And I was so impressive in that playground tryout that the next weekend, he drove me to North Carolina in Winston-Salem to try out on a Sunday. On a Sunday. The day after Winston-Salem State would have played a game, according to Stephen A. Smith's narrative, on a Saturday, Stephen A. gets a tryout on a Sunday, a scrimmage, shows up late, gets thrown into the game, and according to Stephen A. Smith, he knocked down 17 straight threes and got offered a scholarship on the spot. Stephen A. claims, while lying clearly, that when he was presented less than an ideal scenario, he made the most of it. And he earned a scholarship on the spot. That's what kind of a man Stephen A. Smith was in 1987, 1988. He didn't need a fair chance. He just needed an opportunity. And so here we are 40 years later, and Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, silver spoon in his mouth his whole career, his whole life. Oh, he's being set up by getting to play against the first team. There is no athlete, no legitimate athlete in his right mind who sees, hey, I get to go play with the first team. I'm going to show these guys. There's no athlete that says, oh, yeah, I'm a victim. I'm being set up here. You're being set up for success. You're being given an opportunity. This is an incredible opportunity for Shedeur Sanders tonight, and you have idiots like Stephen A. Smith who pretend to be like they're some sort of athlete, they actually understand sports, and then you have people, Louis Riddick, who actually played in the NFL. They're all falling under the spell of Deion Sanders, who wants to make excuses for his boy. And that's what this is coming from. These guys on the phone with Deion, or Deion text messaging them, yeah, he's being set up. This is all about lowering the bar for Shedeur. If he plays poorly, Stephen A. and everybody gets to go on, well, what did you expect? He didn't get any first team reps. Are you kidding me? TJ, and don't spend long on this, but I mean, TJ, you were an undrafted person into the NFL. Would there ever have been a thought, hey, you get to go play with the first team and you haven't all training camp, Tom Brady's going to be throwing you the ball tonight? Is it, oh, that's unfair. Are you being set up for failure, or are you being given an opportunity?
Greatest opportunity in the world.
What are we talking about? It's, I'm sorry for going here, but it's just where I'm going just naturally. Just For the first 2 years that I played college football at Ball State, I was a nightmare for my offensive line coach. I was a nightmare for the program. I was like our top recruit. And I came in out of shape and with a bad attitude. I spent the whole summer drinking and celebrating that I got a football scholarship and was going to college. I wasn't in the right mindset. And for 2 years, the coaches held it against me. They had high expectations for me, and I took a dump all over it and ruined my reputation. And then in my third year, a guy named Vinny Constable quits the team. He was an offensive lineman ahead of me on the depth chart. And Lawrence Cooley, as I'm walking out, this is back when football was football and you could do two-a-days. And as I'm walking off the field after our morning practice, where in my third year, despite being better than most of the guys playing in front of me, I was on the scout team once again because of my attitude and because of what I had done to my reputation. Lawrence Cooley taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, man, I need to talk to you. Vinny Constable quit. We got a scrimmage in our second practice. You're going to be our quick tackle in the script." And I had to play against a guy by the name of Troy Schultz. Troy Schultz was headed for the NFL. He's a defensive lineman, headed for the NFL if he hadn't injured his knee. He was arguably our best defensive player. Before his knee injury, arguably the best defensive lineman in the Mid-American Conference. And that's who I had to play against. So let's say practice ends at 10:30 a.m. Lawrence Cooley taps me on the shoulder, and at 3:30 p.m. later that day, I was going to have to play against Troy Schultz. I'm being set up for failure. It was an opportunity. And Troy, don't get upset with me, but Troy knows this is true. I handled him. And didn't dominate him, but played Troy Schultz to a draw throughout that entire scrimmage. And that night, Paul Shedeur, shocked because Paul Shedeur hated me, and rightfully so, because I had been a disappointment for the first 2 years, wrong attitude or whatever. But that night in the meeting, he's like, holy cow. Whitlock stepped up. And this is where you gotta be ready. Whenever you get your chance, you gotta be ready. And Paul Shedeur was so relieved because he was so concerned about our offensive line and offensive line depth. It was like, holy cow, Whitlock stepped up. Man, this man went toe-to-toe with Troy Schultz. Unbelievable. Changed the whole narrative about me. And the next 2 years, I was a starter, contributor to the Ball State football program. Changed the whole, it was an opportunity. Why are we feminizing black men in this way? That this victim Olympics that we're trying to enter black men into, we're destroying them. Shedeur Sanders has an awesome opportunity tonight. Those of you born here in America, you have an awesome opportunity every day to improve your life, to take advantage of the opportunities that America presents. But instead, you wake up every day looking for an excuse, looking for a way to frame opportunity as victimhood and some sort of setup, some sort of conspiracy against you. And when Deion Sanders and his son and the people supporting Deion Sanders and his son, when they can't see what they're doing to Shedeur, what they're doing to black men, handing them the wrong mindset and an excuse, an out for failure. I'm going to give you one more personal example, and I hate to do it because I'm not trying to make this about me. But I'm trying to, what real leadership looks like, and when you're pushing men, boys, to seize an opportunity. I'm going to go back to my sophomore year of high school football. We're playing at Ben Davis, first, second, third game of the season. Ben Davis had a coach, Dick Dullahan, hustle, hit, and never quit. It's great, legendary Hall of Fame coach in Indiana. And Ben Davis was a good football program, but we were better. not traditionally, but, we had myself. We had like 3 Division I offensive linemen on the team. But sophomore year, our quarterback, Rich Shepler, got a scholarship to Indiana University. We had a good team. And I'm starting, and I'm really good because as mediocre as I was in college, I was really good in high school. But as a sophomore, being young and dumb, I got hurt in that Ben Davis game in like the second quarter. Something happened to my arm. I had to come out for a couple of plays and come out of the game. And then Lee Dilk, my offensive line coach, when I say, hey, I'm ready to go back in the game, Lee Dilk, one of the most intense people I've ever met in my life, loved me, loved all of us, pushed all of us really hard. But he got in my face, 15-year-old sophomore that's playing really well, but he got in my face before he sent me back into the game. He's like, let me tell you something, Whitlock. You better play just as good as you were playing before the injury when I put you back out there. The standard hasn't dropped. And when he said this to me, he's yelling in my face, I was like, how did this man read my mind? Because I was a 15-year-old idiot going, well, now I don't have to play as well because I've been hurt. And he snatched that away from me instantly. There are no excuses. You're going back into the game, and you better play at the same level as you were playing beforehand, because that's what our expectations are. And so if Shedeur Sanders is a legitimate baller, an athlete, all the things, a leader, all the things, someone needs to be getting in Shedeur's face and say, hey, bro, I know you haven't been with the first unit, but you better get out here and ball tonight. I don't want to hear any excuses. But this is what we do. We cripple young black men with excuses. Don't do it to Shedeur Sanders tonight. This kid better go out there and ball. He's capable of it. If you believe him, if you believe his father, if you believe all the broadcasters that have he should have been a first-round pick. Well, he's got a chance to prove it tonight against a team, Carolina, that's not that good. We keep putting young men in the Victim Olympics, and it's killing them. I'm going to get Steve Kim's take on this and furthermore from T.J. Moe. Before we get to Steve Kim, I want to thank CB Distillery once again. CB Distillery's VIP sale is on right now for a few days only. You can save up to 50% on everything with code VIP. If better sleep, less stress, and pain relief after exercise sound good to you, you need to hear about CB Distillery from CB Distillery. They have plant-based solutions for just about everything from sleep, stress, mood, focus, even pain after exercise, all made with high-quality, clean ingredients. They even have CBD for pets. Many of you are already feeling the difference, especially with their sleep products. Look, if you're still tossing and turning at night or struggling with another health concern, make the change to CB Distillery. Now's your chance to save big with the code VIP, but this deal won't be around long, so don't wait. Visit cbdistillery.com and enter the promo code VIP to save up to 50% on everything. That's cbdistillery.com, code VIP, cbdistillery.com, code VIP. Not available in Idaho and Iowa and South Dakota. It is available here in Nashville, and I'll be partaking tonight. All right, don't go anywhere. Steve Kim, next.
I'm 56, acting like I'm 30. Worship me like an idol, cause I'm worthy. Drop rose for snow, hoes wasn't pretty. Overplaying Travis Hunter did him dirty. Shedeur crying daddy, why they hurt me? Setting sack record sight getting blurry. Players decommitting, coaches start to scurry. Run into the transfer portal in a hurry. Your favorite black coach, I do no wrong. Get them wins up, or I won't be here for long. Call them ghetto rappers and get us in the zone.
Who ready?
I'm ready, now play my theme song. If you see me, then you know it's about a bug. Not about my players, I don't give a. I'm the big dog, should do my little pug. Diamonds on his wrist, Sandy, hold it up. When I holler Pee-wee, that mean I suck. Manipulate my players, then I get them stuck. Take the cornerback for Colorado Buffs.
Do you believe that?
Nope, we ran out of love.
Yeah, 모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러 so fly
All right, welcome back. Steve Kim. I'm coming right to you, brother. Stephen A. Smith, Louis Riddick, some of these black broadcasters want to frame up Shedeur as some sort of victim here. I believe Deion's responsible behind the scenes, whining and complaining. He's still upset about him being a fifth-round pick. Now they want to blame Jimmy Haslam. They want to blame the Cleveland Browns. The only thing I didn't mention at the top, Shedeur Sanders has never once in his life had to compete for the starting position. He's always been coached by his daddy, and he's always given the QB position from grade school all the way through Jackson State, Colorado. And maybe he deserved to be anointed, but first time he's had to compete, and now he's entering the ring on a stretcher and a victim. Oh, they're making me play with the first team. Your reaction?
Well, isn't he actually competing now for the third job? I'd like to know where Dylan Gabriel stands in all this, but I don't know about you, Jason. I can't wait. I know tonight you'll be watching cut-ups of the Indiana Fever half-court sets, but I am greatly anticipating this. But there's no doubt about it. There is a victimhood mindset. That is the theme of the day, at least from them, and they are trying to frame this as a no-win situation for Shedeur Sanders. And this is why I think a lot of organizations, whether they wanted to admit it or not, so if you don't play him, he's being blackballed, right? But if you do play him, you're blackballing him. Well, I mean, that's a rock and a hard place that a lot of organizations simply did not want. But let's be honest, Jason, all this victimhood and the whining, it was very, very predictable.
There's a long history of, what do they call it, getting Wally Pipp? Did Lou Gehrig, Wally Pipp?
Yes, that was him.
Somebody lost
Wally
their job. Wally Pipp lost his job to Lou Gehrig. Yes. He got hurt. And people get opportunities like that. Oh, Lou Gehrig, he's got to play with the first team Yankees or whoever it was for.
Can I just tell you how stupid this is?
Yeah.
Nobody from the first team's playing tonight. Kevin Stefanski's already said that. Like they already said, hey, he's by and large he's playing with 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel's got a hurt hamstring. So does Kenny Pickett. That's the only reason Shedeur's starting in the first place. So instead of evaluating the whole picture, Joe Flacco's 864 years old. The next two guys who could be up are both injured, and so we're playing the only guy that's healthy besides Tyler Huntley, who we brought in 5 minutes ago. We're starting the one guy we got, and somehow this is sabotage. Explain it to me.
Well,
I just, this is like, I'm sorry for doing this because we're a Christian show, but this is just the way my mind works. If I get a date with Sophie Cunningham,
is that what? Could have been anybody in the world. You think so?
I'm not complaining like, oh, she called me last minute. Yeah. No, I'm rushing to the shower and I'm like, putting on my best clothes.
Yeah. Cologne, which I think is weird, but you put cologne on.
It's. I can't be, I'm getting a date with a first-team All-American.
I bet Tom Brady was really upset when he had to go on for Drew Bledsoe. Yeah. I bet that was the worst day of his life.
So wait a minute.
For Warner and Trent Green, what a terrible time.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Hey,
so
Steve, hold on. Let me crack a joke here. Let me crack a joke here. When Uncle Jimmy went down, and I called you and said, "Hey, Steve, I need you to fill in for Uncle Jimmy," were you sitting there like, damn it, I don't need that money. I don't need that opportunity.
I mean...
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I learned two things. Whitlock has finally moved on from Tamron Hall. Okay, had a good run. The dream is over. All good things must come to an end.
She's married now. She's married. So I don't, yeah.
She's married now. Okay, so you're not going back.
I
The
mean,
other
Sophie's not
thing is,
available either.
this is
Let's
going to be amazing. Most times when players, whatever, let's say it doesn't work out for Shedeur, and I still think he's going to get other opportunities. We know the way this works. Most of the time, the mantra is, he never got his shot. Here it's going to be, how dare they give him a shot? I've never seen it. But I'm going to tell you this, guys, and this has been my theme since the night of the draft, or at least the third day. This is the most heavily anticipated Cleveland Browns rookie debut as a quarterback since Bernie Kosar in 1985. We need to admit it.
Manziel was pretty high up there.
Manziel, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield was the top pick
like
in the
this,
draft.
Yeah.
Not like this.
I don't know. This was more interesting, but anticipated. People actually thought both Baker and Manziel could save the franchise. I don't know that anybody thinks that Shedeur is saving the franchise.
Deion does, and the Deion groupies. According to the Deion groupies, Shedeur is, a John Elway-like prospect. Seriously.
No, they don't.
But then why have the excuses, right? Because that is the thing. And we're already, the whole thing's been telegraphed. He's never even played with the ones. You can't expect him to go out there and play with the ones. And when they see that none of the ones are playing, he was playing the Panthers ones with a bunch of 2s and 3s. How'd you think he could succeed with that? It's just a moving target of victimhood.
Gentlemen, and TJ, I know you won't take a pass on this, and I don't think Steve will either. I'm put you in a tough spot to speak for the rooftop Koreans and for the white
Whites.
man.
Yep, just say it, the whites.
White people. Is like, this to me says everything about black culture and what's wrong with black men. Am I wrong for this in terms of we hand them crutches, we cripple them, we don't require them to walk, we don't hold them to any kind of legitimate standards that force them to elevate.
Oh, I totally agree. You remember when I first started on the show, the first time I ever came down here with John Hadley, you were talking about this, and we played the scene from Remember the Titans, where Herman Boone went in and was hammering Coach Yost because of Petey.
Yeah.
He's like, you're cutting my legs from it. You think the world cares about these young black kids? Well, now we just give them a job and we create all the victims. But even back then, they're making a movie, and these talks probably actually happened once upon a time where you're like, all this victimhood stuff, it destroys them before it starts. And back when we had a real meritocracy, then it actually did destroy them. But now it just destroys their ability to produce, and they get the job anyway. So we're all worse off for it, them and us.
Rooftop.
One of my familiar mantras is the standards you set for somebody is what you really think of them. And when you continually lower the standards on anybody, that becomes the standard. The standard is the standard, as Mike Tomlin would say. There used to be this prevailing thought that we shall overcome. Now it seems to be we shall submit. And the situation also kind of reminds me in reverse. Is like, if you play them, damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? So it's like white folks. If they leave a neighborhood, it's called white flight. If they come in and raise the property value, it's called gentrification. They can't win, right? Well, it's almost like they're telling Shedeur, no matter what happens, don't worry, we're going to have a safety net for you.
Safety nets are terrible. Safety nets are a disaster.
Yeah.
There should be, you can't execute plan A if there's a plan B. That's it. You coming over here, burn the ships, exists for a reason. There is no going back.
There is a safety net that helps, and Christianity, submitting to Jesus Christ. That is the safety net that we've removed and vilified. And I say that in terms of, I'm going big picture beyond sports. We want the government to be a safety net, and it should be the church. It should be people involved in a local church. Oh, you got struggles with your family? The church is going to wrap your arms around you, get you up on your feet, not the government, and not the broadcasters sitting on TV saying, well, you're going to fail anyway because they've set you up for failure. So you might as well deal drugs. You might as well go loot a Walgreens. these things are connected. You think that, hey, I'm being bold and courageous. I'm standing up against white supremacy. No, you're not. Not even close. Shedeur Sanders has an opportunity that every 23-year-old athlete that I ever knew in my life would die for. I'm in an NFL training camp. The NFL is the biggest sport in the entire hemisphere of America, and I'm in an NFL locker room, and I have a chance to compete for a roster spot, starting spot, whatever, and somehow we've reduced it to you've been set up, and I want people to take cuts of this conversation. Copy Louis Riddick, copy Stephen A. Smith, copy Deion Sanders. What are we doing? Are we man enough for this world, or are we not? You're just raising your hands and saying, I'm a retard. I'm not man enough for this world. We got to stop this. I'm going to move on here. I've beaten this drum long enough, I think. I hope you guys got it. Anthony Richardson, Colts quarterback. Wasn't he the 4th pick in the draft a couple years ago? Out of Florida, big athlete. Looks like Cam Newton, plays like, I don't know who.
Tebow.
Tim Tebow, yes.
Marcus
Looks like
Russell.
Cam Newton, plays like Jamarcus Russell. There we go. Maybe didn't get a fair shot here. He injured his pinky. And it sounds like, hey, he just injured his pinky. But that's a serious, it's on his throwing hand. That's going to affect your accuracy. He could be out, ineffective, 6 to 8 weeks. Who knows? This, to me, seems like this is the end for Anthony Richardson. I saw this interesting clip from Quincy Avery, one of these quarterback gurus that works with elite-level quarterbacks, and he made a point that T.J. Moe was making to me earlier this morning as we talked about the Colts and this preseason game and him getting sacked and injuring his pinky, that it actually potentially is a byproduct of him making the wrong read here. Let's play Quincy Avery.
All right, so we're talking about Anthony Richardson. This is what concerns me. And let me start here. I really hope that he's okay. But here's the issue. We got a 5-man pass pro, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to be full sliding to our left, okay? And I can understand why he did that. He sees this. He feels like we may have an opportunity to get pressure over there. That's one thing, okay? But we got free runners. There's a hot answer in this play, and I know that it's not on this side, right? Because we're not getting eyes. We got eyes from the back. We got eyes on this sit concept, and he's completely turned the other way. Those are the things that get coaches really, really upset because they do not know if you understand the offense, and we cannot put ourselves in that position.
I'm sure, I just want to be crystal clear because I don't think Quincy Avery was on screen. Quincy Avery's a black guy, and I'm sure he'll be called a coon and a sellout for pointing out that Anthony Richardson may have contributed to his own failure there. But it is what it is. I think the Anthony Richardson experiment as an NFL quarterback ended last night. Steve, what say you?
Well, I also think the general manager's career with the Colts should end right with him. I never understood how he's drafted in the top 5. Guys, he literally threw, in his 1 year starting, under 55%. That may have been okay in 1982. It wasn't good in 2022. And the other thing is he only started about 12 games at Florida. There's a general rule of thumb. Guys that start over 30 games have much more success from college to the NFL. And that's why when I look at these mock drafts with Lenore Sellers and Arch Manning going top 5 next year, I have a problem with that. But guys, Anthony Richardson has one problem as a quarterback, and it's kind of key. He doesn't complete passes. That's kind of a big thing still, last I checked. It reminds me, guys, long ago, I used to be a San Diego Padre fan when I cared about baseball. And they made this big trade, and I think and the key piece that the Padres got was this supposed 5-tool player. His name was Ruben Rivera. The guy looked like he was out of Central Casting. big, strong, athletic. He could throw the ball. He could run. He could do everything except one thing, guys. Hit major league pitching, and he was a bust. And Anthony Richardson is a bust. And I know a lot of people say, well, he needs to move to tight end or linebacker. Guys, he's not even durable enough to play those positions, much less quarterback. So it is a bust, but it is not all on him. Blame the people that drafted him way too high.
Yeah, he has a significant injury history during his brief NFL career, concussions, hip maybe, back.
Multiple AC joints in the shoulder.
Yeah, and so, he's got a little Tua Tagovailoa in him despite looking like Tarzan.
Yes.
What an insult.
And look, I get why people got infatuated with him. Do you remember last year against Houston, one of the throws that he made, and this is the kind of stuff that he showed through all of his pro days and the combine and everything. He dropped back to pass, slipped, threw off his back foot, and I think he threw it 70 yards in the air and dropped a dime behind. I mean, his raw ability, that's why Jamarcus Russell actually is a really good comparison, because Jamarcus Russell, he actually had a college career, but what he could do just with his raw athleticism was something most guys in the league couldn't do. I mean, Anthony Richardson may have the strongest arm in the league. He's up there.
I'm going to give you another comparable of what they were thinking when they took Anthony Richardson, and it just hasn't translated. Because, Steve, if you remember, the knock on Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming was, hey, he only completed 56% of his passes in his last 2 years. And he started for 2 years at Wyoming, and so there were questions about Josh Allen. And so I think sometimes you go to that copycat deal and you end up outsmarting yourself.
Well, you're right, but Josh Allen is the anomaly. Very few guys who are inaccurate in the NCAA at any level suddenly become very accurate in the National Football League. Also, Josh Allen has significantly changed his throwing mechanics, his shifting of weight and the way the arm comes across or over his body. There's a video on that I saw last year from NFL Presents. So he's really worked at it. But guys, you know what I knew Richardson was going to have some issues? He made a comment. I don't know when he made it, but it was certainly after he left Florida. He said, well, the NFL game is actually easier than college. It's easier, so I'm gonna be okay. And I'm thinking, again, your mindset, if you are not humble and intelligent enough to know that outside of hitting a baseball consistently, and I could even make an argument that it's more difficult to be a good National Football League quarterback than it is to hit a baseball. I know there's going to be arguments, but in this game, and I think TJ probably speaks to it more than any of us as he was at that level, you have to be humble. You have to be willing to submit and sacrifice and understand I've got a lot to learn. Anthony Richardson actually thought this was going to be easy. And I think right then should have given us a clue. This guy may not have any of the intangibles to be a successful quarterback.
And I hate to sound like a broken record, but Anthony Richardson thinks he's some sort of a rapper. He put out a rap video. What is absent in the entire rap music, hip hop culture? Humility. Modesty. Everything is about how there's no modesty, there's no humility. And people in the whole rap deal, you're installed. There's no talent required. It's not. I've known some rappers that work really hard and hustled really hard building themselves up, but in this modern deal we got going on here, if they want to install Sexy Red or whoever or Megan Thee Stallion, they can just do it. Last thing I want to say, I want to circle back to Josh Allen, just some other things that probably weren't weighed in when they were thinking like, hey, this may be Josh Allen. Josh Allen's playing at Wyoming. The weather and wind conditions in Wyoming, and when you're not playing with elite level, high Division I receivers, you're not throwing into huge windows. Like when I look at Shedeur, and it's one of the reasons why I'm skeptical of Shedeur. It's like, man, he had 3, 4, 5 receivers that have NFL type talent. And these guys were running free. And he was throwing into pretty large windows. Let's see what happens when the windows tighten up. That's my final thought on that. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of what Shedeur played with, last night I was actually watching some of the Ravens game, and one of the former Buffaloes, LaJohntay Wester, had a really big game. Had a punt return, caught a couple of passes. It looks like he's going to make a roster. Jimmy Horn's been turning heads in Carolina. The other thing about Josh Allen, I don't know if it's luck or it's just really the way he's built. The way he plays, which is like a raging bull or a bull in a china shop, he plays very reckless in a lot of ways, but somehow, some way, he's been durable. He is tougher than an absolute anvil. Meanwhile, AR5 made history last year by becoming the only quarterback to ever touch his helmet to tap out of a game. None of this should be a surprise what's taking place right now.
You know what? There are genetics or whatever that some people are injury prone, some aren't. I was never a guy that was injury prone. I had a torn ACL that I played my whole senior year with. Started every game with a torn ACL. My knee is tight. I had a scope, but I never had that ACL fixed, and that may be another reason why me and my Stairmaster are at odds. But anyway, let me stick a bit. Did you have one more thing you wanted to say, TJ, or can I move on?
I got it.
I want to move on, Steve. I know you were all over this last night. There was another pipe bombing. Another bomb. Actually, 2 bombs went off in Chicago during the Sky game. One didn't reach the court. The other damn near made it to center court. And now we have a story from ESPN and maybe The Athletic. I saw a story on the New York Times this morning where some crypto bros have started a meme coin called Dildos, and this is all a marketing strategy from some crypto bros. And people, they've done some anonymous interviews, I think, with ESPN, maybe with USA Today. The pipe bombing started in the WNBA. So I find it kind of ironic that meme coins, something of virtually no value, has great value, and that's kind of what I see in the WNBA, something with little value being overvalued. Last thing I want to play just before we get into the conversation is Cheryl Reeve, the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx. She had a take on this and about how women are being sexualized and exploited. She said all this before the crypto bros took credit for this. But let's play the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, Cheryl Reeve, railing against the dildo throws that have marred this wonderful WNBA season. Play the clip.
Throwing things onto the court. Obviously, you guys know what the object is. And I just want to comment on, this has been going on for centuries. The sexualization of women. This is the latest version of that. And it's not funny. And it should not be the butt of jokes on any radio shows or in print or in any comments. The sexualization of women is what's used to hold women down. And this is no different. This is just its latest form. And we should write about it in that way. And these people that are doing this should be held accountable. And we're not the butt of the joke. They're the problem. And we need to take action.
TJ, I know you're a bit more of a historian than I am, but have they been throwing dildos for centuries?
When were dildos invented, Luke?
Luke, could you come out here? We need some expertise on dildos. You know what, TJ? I hope Luke sues both of us. I really do. I hope he sues both of us. And they use this tape to bury both of us. Steve, have you dildo throwing? Was this a part of the first Olympics in the 1800s? I mean, it's been going on for centuries.
Yeah, I mean, look, the coach said something really interesting. Dildos and butts, anyway. Yeah, I mean, the women are targets, but not being sexualized. They're being mocked. That is the reality. And once again, here we go with that finger pointing from that league again, the most unlikable league in the history of mankind. And I already saw some memes based on her interview, but all the lecturing, the mortal grandstanding. Look, I'm not a fan of anybody throwing stuff onto the court. I'm not. But to say that none of us should laugh and that it's not funny, it's funny. I'm getting a chuckle out of it. I'm retweeting everything that comes on my timeline. But, Jason, I have a question. Someone brought this up to me on my Twitter feed. It seems kind of outlandish, but I think there's some truth. Is there any chance this is an inside job? Think about it. A lot of people are talking about WNBA games that do not involve Caitlin Clark, all because of these unidentified objects. Well, they're identified. I'm just saying.
Luke just texted me. He said he didn't even have to look this up. It was. He said the first known dildo is about 30,000 years old. It was made out of siltstone, and they found it in a German cave in 2005.
So it has been going on for centuries.
Luke knew that right off the top of his head.
Sue T.J., not me. I'm not taking the egregious shots here.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it thrown on any. Like, what? Also, can I just point out? I mean, the hypocrisy here. She did say at one point, the sexualization of women is used to hold women down. It's literally what has propped up the entire WNBA. Like your girl, Sophie Cunningham, who is a friend of mine, actually. We're friendly. Not as friendly as you two. I guess. But I'm saying,
This is a one-way love affair, but go ahead.
Yeah. What is this runway that they have going on before every game? Like the sexualization of them is on every. It's actually what's propped women up. It's exactly the opposite of what she's saying.
Yeah, take it up, and that's Sophie and Lexi Hull entering the arena before getting their brains beat in last night in Phoenix. But take Angel Reese.
Yes.
The only part of her brand that isn't propped up by Caitlin Clark is her wearing booty shorts and taking pictures of herself in a very sexualized way. The problem is with their players. It's not with, we're not sexualizing them. And again, Cheryl Reeve doesn't know when she's saying this that the crypto bros are trying to make money off of this. Steve, your contention that part of this is a mocking and derision towards, I think the enjoyment of it is a part of that, but the people actually throwing the dildos are, one, trying to profit and get a meme coin that I think the New York Times reported has tripled in value since this started. And so I do think the continuance of this taking on a life of its own, part of that will be like, man, screw these girls. They just whine and complain. They're entitled. They deserve this.
Right. When you hear comments like the one from Miss Tarasi, I have a theory. I think if you like an athlete or the game or you're really into it, like you really care about it, the last thing you want to do is interrupt it in any way and certainly get yourself thrown out and have any legal ramifications, right? I want to watch a game. I want to watch a little ball, right? But the WNBA, I think a lot of people, I mean, outside of you, Jason, and some YouTube panelists doing a great job talking about it, there's like this subculture that really enjoys it, right? But the rest of the 99.5% of America doesn't. And then they're awfully unlikable. And so the entertainment comes in mocking it. You're also mocking the sexuality, the whole culture of it. And so all of that comes into play. So in my view, yeah, I think people are actually mocking the league, the people in it, the whining, and the lifestyle.
Here's where I somewhat agree with you, and I'll unpack it slightly different. The WNBA beats its chest about we're a platform, and we're activists, and we're speaking out for feminist issues, for Black Lives Matter, for Hamas, for this, and so they've taken basketball and turned it into a platform for things that have nothing to do with basketball. So don't be shocked when someone else says, oh, Let me use that platform to promote what I want to promote, my dildo meme coin. And so where this is headed, and other leagues, including male leagues, they better be careful. They've allowed the athletes, well, the NFL, it's a platform to speak out against racism. It's a platform to cape for George Floyd and whatever else. So it's not about football. We're not here for football. We're here to play the Negro National Anthem. We're here to troll Donald Trump. I could see this dildo thing hitting the NBA and potentially hitting the NFL. It's like, okay, platform, I want to use your platform as a fan to make the point that I want to make, whether it's to get a dildo meme coin off or to say, hey, I don't like your attitude.
Well, the difference obviously is at some point these people will get in real legal trouble.
How? It's like being a streaker. Throwing a dildo is worse than being a streaker?
No, but they've categorized it the same. Streakers go to jail.
Yeah, I know that's not real trouble. That's why streaking's never stopped. You get a slap on the wrist.
Streaking's mostly stopped.
No, they just don't show it. They don't show it. It happens.
I know it still happens. I'm saying it's way less than it used to be. Probably.
Yeah, because they don't show it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's going to happen with the dildo, right? They're going to stop showing it.
No, because it stops the game.
Episode of streaking.
Nah.
Yeah, they always stop the game.
In football, you can cut to commercial break. You can not show it and talk around it because there's 30 seconds, 40 seconds in between each play.
Yeah.
Basketball's a non-stop thing unless something happens, a foul gets called. I think it'll be harder to stop as it relates to basketball. It's harder to prevent. Because again, I think last night they were calling this across the league no bag night. You couldn't bring a bag to the arena. And I was like,
can we just acknowledge all the girls secretly love this? There's no way that they love the attention. They love that everybody's talking about the WNBA. That it's bringing actual attention to the league. And they say, we're so offended by it. But the reality is one actually hit Sophie Cunningham, and the first thing she did was laugh and go hug somebody on the other team. Nobody actually cares about this.
because she's a real woman.
Well, there are a few of those.
Yeah, a handful, a very small amount. You think they're enjoying this attention? I do. If you're a human being, it's humorous.
Yes.
Some of them are. This is my prediction. If this continues, there's going to be a player who's going to say that we as minorities are being targeted and mocked, and they will turn it into a racial issue. That's my contention, that you wouldn't do this if the league was mostly white, and this is about the continued disrespect and the disenfranchisement or whatever buzzwords that they want to use, and it'll make, once again, a lot of the fans feel guilty, even the ones that are doing absolutely nothing except wasting their time watching a WNBA game. And I'm just telling you guys, I actually believe that if ESPN is still cutting edge, this should be a 30 for 30. Make it a humorous one. But I find this thing to be actually pretty fascinating in a lot of ways.
Dildo Gate does have a ring to it.
Summer of Dildo.
There you go. There is. What did Steve just say? Because I was disagreeing with it.
He said that the player. Hold on, Steve. Now I don't forgot because you went a little bit.
I think eventually one of the players will make this a racial issue, that we're being mocked as black women and we're being targeted. All those buzzwords.
Not a chance. They may do that, Steve. You're probably right that they would do that because, of course, they will. I'm saying America seems to be done buying all this. They've been, and I said they. Stephen A. Smith just tried to do it with Shedeur Sanders. Like, all the race stuff has continued by the same idiots, and America has stopped buying it.
I actually think if they go the route Steve's talking, it will backfire. It will make it even more popular. In terms of take black men, they have black woman fatigue. It's like these angry, entitled, wagging your finger at men. I want to be a man. I'm independent. I'm this and that. I think if they go the route Steve's talking about, I think it makes it even more popular. I think that's what the crypto bros actually want. it may provoke me into buying, one of these worthless meme coins. It could get that popular.
Yeah, I
They're
might
throwing it
buy
at the white
1,000
girls.
shares. Seriously, it probably costs about
They are
20
throwing it at the white
right
girls.
now.
What? Oh, you got Steve. He's saying they're throwing it at the white girls.
There's only been one hit, and it's the prettiest white girl out there.
That's a lucky. You think someone sitting up in the stands?
How do you know where they were?
Well, I don't.
They couldn't have been in row
Someone
6.
standing on the side.
Well, hold on, TJ.
I'm just saying, at some
TJ.
point, it could be racist that we're not throwing it at the black women. Like, there's a victimhood no matter what you do. Why are you only hitting the white girls? How come you guys are only interested? Because there's been one person been hit, and she is the prettiest white girl out there.
Well, TJ, let me just tell you this. If that's true, then whoever's hucking that has better accuracy than Anthony Richardson, and maybe Chris Ballard ought to look that guy up. But, the interesting thing about this whole thing, I think it's actually a funny story. Sophie Cunningham seems to be playing this off pretty well. To me, I'm not a fan of people throwing stuff onto the court. I'm just not. I would never really engage in it. But there is a commentary about what people actually think about the league in general. I tell you why a lot of people don't throw stuff onto the playing field at other games. They actually want to be there. They actually care really about the actual game or the players. The unlikability of many of these participants, I believe, makes them a target.
Yeah, where you're really right, Steve, is take Chiefs fans. Someone did something that interrupted the game or disrupted the game and maybe had any kind of negative impact on the game. Other Chiefs fans would be upset. Hey, man, I'm here to enjoy the game. What are you doing? That guy did it.
Yep.
Here at the WNBA, half of them are, it's really just a gay pride night for a lot of these fans. And I don't think, you're telling me the same group of people that are comfortable with drag queens shaking their private parts in the face of kids have a problem with a dildo getting thrown on the court? I just don't think they have a problem with it in a real way. Cheryl Reeves may, and the players, a handful of the players on the court may, but in reality, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be offensive, but this is what they do. This is who they are. They may have been throwing dildos on the court years ago, but no one paid attention and no one cared. But I guarantee you they've been carrying dildos into the arena that's been the tradition of the WNBA.
That was by the players. That was different. I do think people are just upset. What the majority of the crowd did is they went to go check and see if they bet on green or purple for the dildo color this time. A lot of people were very upset. They thought it was going to be 4 for 4 on green.
This is a byproduct of centering a bunch of other things other than the game. And all of these leagues need to be careful of it. The smart people in the NFL, the smart people in the NBA, I think this thing could spread like a virus as frustration with these athletes and as people get comfortable with, and particularly when you talk about these sports that are dependent upon black athletes, the NFL, the NBA, and people are, hey man, I'm tired of this attitude. I'm tired of the excuse making and the race card playing by Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders and Stephen A. Smith. How can I use your platform to make a point that I no longer respect you? If Russell Westbrook and these other they're getting fans kicked out of games for just being fans, and oh, you booed the wrong person, and DeWanna Bonner's a Hall of Famer. What? All this demonization of fans. Oh, the Indiana Fever fans, they're all racist. Caitlin Clark. They're begging fans, and for this thing to take on a life of its own and start impacting other sports, let's make sure we remember this in this prediction. Steve, I got one final thing we got to get to. That conversation went longer and better than I expected, but I want to play this clip of Dave Portnoy promoting his move to Fox Sports' Big Noon Kickoff college football show. He's going to be the Pat McAfee of Fox Sports. And here's his promotion of him while he imitates Tony Montana. Let's play the clip.
You're all a bunch of assholes. You know why? You don't have the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like me.
He gives off asshole on purpose.
You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Fox is a very bad Fox.
Well, that make you good?
Why is he there?
You're not good.
He doesn't know anything about football.
You just know how to hide.
I don't know if he ever played it.
That's right.
When he played Pop One, I never saw anything like it.
Me, I don't have that part. Me, I always tell it to you. So say good night to the bad guy.
Dave Portnoy.
Dave Portnoy.
Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy.
Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy. Portnoy is a pizza devouring,
obnoxious,
Internet celebrity,
polarizing,
successful, nobody,
An icon.
delusional,
Michigan fan.
best man in football.
Love him or hate him, he's making headlines.
Dave Portnoy is going to join Fox Big Noon. Oh, it's great to be back.
Big noon kickoff. I can't wait. It's exciting to be here.
They want no part of Big Ten brutal football.
We are kings of the football world.
The day of reckoning is coming.
Question to both of you. Steve, you first. It's a two-part question. Do you love it, like it, or hate it, that promotional video? And then the second part is, do you think Fox Sports loves it, likes it, or hates that video?
I can honestly say I'm indifferent. I don't really, because here's the truth. Nowadays that I drive over to Coach JB's for Football Palooza, I never actually watch any of the shows, guys. I get there right in time for the 9 a.m. window, honestly. So I really have not watched either College Game Day or Fox in its entirety in at least a year or two. Game Day, in my opinion, has been great. It's iconic, but it's also lost its fastball. I'll watch it out of respect for Lee Corso in week one because I love the coach, and I want to give him a proper send-off by saying, hey, you were great, and I feel as though I owe him that. But is Dave Portnoy going to suddenly make me go to Fox every Saturday that I'm actually home? No, I really wouldn't. And look, he's going to bring in a built-in audience, but I think Portnoy's taking himself a little too seriously here. You're not going to shift the whole culture of college football fans. You're really not. And I don't know. I still think ESPN, no matter what we say, they are the monolith that everyone else is judged by, and they still overshadow everybody, even in the college football space. And as for Fox, would they love that ad? I don't know. If they don't, that's their problem. Because you know why? Because they should have known what they were getting into.
I'm probably with Steve on indifference towards the ad. I'm not a fan of Dave Portnoy. I don't care. There's actually a huge difference. I think this is a mistake. The whole thing, I think, is a mistake for Fox. I get what they're doing because there's only one Pat McAfee. But Pat McAfee is not a 45-year-old frat boy. He played in the NFL for a long time. He has a real pedigree. He's married, has a kid. Like, he's living a real life. Dave Portnoy never grew up. He's a 45-year-old or 50 or whatever he is, frat boy who, he's a degenerate. And so you're bringing somebody with no expertise because he's got a little Barstool following. Barstool is the proper name. This is a guy that sits around and chit-chats with his friends. The guy that you're trying to emulate walked off an NFL field not too long ago as a guy that was getting paid to do that. And he's got a much better personality. Pat McAfee, in my opinion, is way funnier, way more interesting than Dave Portnoy. I actually think everybody on Fox is going to be unbelievably annoyed with Dave Portnoy on that set. And I think the people on College Game Day genuinely enjoy Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee has been inside junior high, high school, college, NFL locker rooms his whole life. Knows players, blah, 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 in a real way. And so when you're sitting there with Kirk Herbstreit and Desmond Howard and now Nick Saban, they're all sitting there, well, this guy's been in the locker room. He's one of us.
Yes.
Urban Meyer, Matt Leinart, who's Mark Ingram, and who am I forgetting? Is Brady Quinn on that show? I can't, or is he anyway, that group it's like, hey, I get it, Dave Portnoy is funny, and maybe I've enjoyed some Barstool content, but he's not one of us, and he's about to get the same kind of attention and attempt to be the same kind of attention and distraction as Pat McAfee. It may not, the chemistry on that set may not be enhanced the way Pat McAfee, has enhanced the chemistry, I think, on the ESPN set. I don't blame Fox Sports for trying this.
No.
I really don't. We'll see how it lands. Dave does have an audience, and people are trying to reach it. The commercial or whatever with him flying the bird and Scarface, Tony Montana, Al Pacino is my favorite actor. Scarface is one of my top 3-4 movies of all time. But do I really want that brought to college football? College football is a lot about tradition, and even I know they're all left wing now, but the degeneracy that's coming to Fox Sports's college football show, it just may be too much.
Well, the fans are not left wing, and neither are the people up there on the stage, and they're the ones that got to deal with them. So the universities, who cares what they think? The faculty and all the left, none of those people matter. But as a sports fan, I'm going to be sitting there annoyed at listening to Dave Portnoy, where I actually kind of get a kick out of Pat McAfee. It took me a little while because I kind of enjoyed the traditionalist, Kirk Street types. But then you see how much they're all having a good time. And again, from a guy that has real stories. I mean, Pat McAfee's entire story, if you've ever heard how he even got his scholarship to West Virginia and how he had to go win a poker game because his family was poor and he had to go down just to get to this game. I mean, the whole story is just fascinating. Everything he did, his story's fascinating. Dave Portnoy, to me, is a frat boy that never grew up, and he's a degenerate that would rather be rich and make crazy jokes and do things, and apparently would rather ruin the lives of children who say things about Jews. That's who Dave Portnoy is, whereas Pat McAfee's just having a good time.
Go ahead, Steve.
TJ, to this point, in recent months, Dave Portnoy has been heckled at public events, and he has not handled it well. And if he goes to the wrong school, wrong area, wrong moat, and says the wrong thing, and these guys have a few beverages in them, and they start chanting things in unison, that'll be must-watch TV. That'll get me to turn over to Fox. I want to see how he handles that.
Steve, you just brought up something that's very fascinating, particularly as it relates to the conversation around Israel and Jewish people and young people. I wonder if Fox has done the calculation on just like Nick Fuentes, this Groypers movement. It's young dudes that, probably have an affinity for college football. It'll be interesting how Dave is received, because at some point someone may say, someone may start asking questions. How did he buy back Barstool for $1? Who gets that deal? It's kind of like, the interest-free loans that are available to certain people. Who gets this deal to buy back Barstool for $1? Man, now that I think, Fox may have crawled into something they did not expect. Guys, as much as I've enjoyed all these conversations, much better than I anticipated, but damn it, I've gone an hour and 15 minutes and I haven't talked about Caitlin Clark yet. And
breaking out in hives.
Yeah, I gotta move on from you guys and talk about the real issues in sports, the Indiana NFL. We got to get to As the WNBA Turns. Steve, have a great weekend. TJ, sit quiet when me and some guys that really know sports break down this Indiana Fever thing. Before I get there, I want to tell you guys about the cover-up on Blaze TV. It's a hard-hitting docuseries exposing how the federal government and public health agencies and big tech lied about COVID's origins, lockdowns, and vaccines, engaging in information warfare and censorship. You can binge the first 4 episodes and watch the explosive 5th episode, Muckraker, which reveals the pandemic industrial complex's mind control tactics. All you got to do is go to FauciCoverup.com/Whitlock. You'll get $20 off your annual subscription. You get to enjoy all of our content that we produce here at The Blaze, including the cover-up. Do that right now. When we come back, As the WNBA Turns with Keep the Vision. You guys remember Maurice. And then I think we got DePope B. Frank, I think is his name. Is it? Anyway, we got Frank. Stick around. We're going to talk some WNBA. Next. As it relates to return on investment, ROI. The janitor's return on investment is greater than Diana Taurasi and any of these women in the WNBA. The league loses millions and millions of dollars every year, has every year of its existence. This is just a delusional, entitled person, a dumb jock, and Amazon Prime, and again, they get to operate without any pushback. I gotta go to a communist country. You're in Russia, it's not communist. And you don't understand capitalism. When your sport doesn't generate any money, no one gets rich and famous. You don't even understand the struggle of building a league. What do you think NBA players were getting paid as they built their league the first 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years? All the glory, none of the work, just entitlement everywhere. These are the most unlikable athletes, other than Megan Rapinoe, in the history of the planet.
As the WNBA Turns, starring Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Asia Wilson. Brought to you by George Soros, Adam Silver, Kathy Engelbert, and the Global Elite.
All right, welcome back. My favorite part of the show, as the WNBA turns. Maurice from Keep the Vision is black with me. DePope B. Frank, I'm going to start with you introducing yourself. Frank, tell me your name, and am I getting this right? DePope B. Frank, is that the name of your podcast? And where are you coming from? What city? And when did you jump on the Caitlin Clark bandwagon? Take 30, 40 seconds and explain yourself.
All right. Yes, it is DePope B. Frank. All right. That's my name, actually. That's my real name. But it's backwards. It's Frank Pope. But since I'm always frank about these situations that I talk about, and my last name is DePope, DePope B. Frank, about these situations. I come from L.A., living in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now as we speak, though, and jumped on the Caitlin Clark train during her taking down the South Carolina Monstars in that Final Four game when they was undefeated. Took off on them, and ever since then, I mean, I was amazed. I was captured, and I've been a Clarkie ever since. And I'm one of the guys too. Angel Reese, she came with the me bounds, and she took that and trademarked it. I was the guy that started calling her, making fun of her, that she grabbing me bounds. So when she said, whoever came up with the word, that's me, Angel. You owe me some money. Yeah, I want my money.
Frank, because you said you're from Tulsa, I got to ask you a quick question. Don't spend long on it. But are you aware, do you know anything about the minister, Mike Todd? Have you ever been to Transformation Church? What you know anything about Mike Todd?
No, I don't know about Mike Todd. Last time I've been to church was my late great uncle, Church Reverend James Cleveland. God bless his soul, the King of Gospel. That's the last time I've been to church. Now I live in Tulsa, but I'm from Los Angeles. Also know Bobby Glayton.
Uncle Bobby, yeah, Uncle Bobby.
Yeah,
you know Bobby Glanton.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
All right, so we got all the background. Hey, Maurice, just reintroduce yourself more quickly because the audience has already met you, but just reintroduce yourself again.
Oh, yeah, I'm Maurice. I have a platform.
The Indiana Fever got the brakes beat off of them last night, 95-60. My contention is, for the first time in the absence of Caitlin Clark, the opponent finally gave the Indiana Fever, the I hate white girls, I hate Caitlin Clark, I'm going to destroy the Indiana Fever, the kind of effort that Caitlin Clark and the Fever see every night that Caitlin Clark's on the court. DeWanna Bonner, Alyssa Thomas, the Mercury say, oh no, we're gonna give this group the same effort that we give when Caitlin Clark's out here. And with the Fever at the end of a 4-game road trip and tired and perhaps feeling a little too good about themselves, they got embarrassed last night. And if the opponents were giving this type of effort with earlier when Caitlin Clark was down, I'm not sure if this 5-game winning streak would have ever happened. Maurice, I'm gonna let you fire first.
Yeah, I agree with you. When these teams face the Indiana Fever while Caitlin Clark is playing, it's the Super Bowl. You're getting everybody's best shot. Everybody wants to make a name for themselves beyond their play, meaning I'll make a name for myself by knocking her to the floor or elbowing her eyeball out the socket. Whatever I got to do, that is what they are willing to do when Caitlin Clark is on the team. We have not received, I don't believe, that same effort from these players while she's not there, and we have benefited from playing a lot of terrible teams, as I stated last show. But beyond this game, we were terrible in the Los Angeles Sparks game. You made a late run. Nobody played basketball until you were down 22 with 6 minutes left. Ari McDonald was terrible in the Sparks game, terrible in the Mercury game. You cannot, and I said this time and time again, you cannot survive on the Six Flags roller coaster that is Kelsey Mitchell. Yes, she can get hot with the best of them, but she's a roller coaster. She scores 35, then she scores 8. She scores 23, then she scores 9. You cannot survive on the Kelsey Mitchell roller coaster, and I think Stephanie White did a poor job game planning. You're not supposed to help off Alyssa Thomas. You force her to score 35 points and don't leave the three-point line.
Frank, I want you to piggyback off that comment with a little different spin. I think that Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, they get elevated to the top scout. And the top of the scout sheet, they get the most defensive attention when Caitlin Clark is not there. And it kind of got exposed last night that when you're the focus of another team's defense, it has an impact on you where Caitlin Clark creates so much space and freedom for everybody else that, you know, they kind of got exposed like, they're not capable of being the number one. I like them both. I love them both. But overexposed when they're the top of the other team scout. Your reaction to that?
They're terrible tools, Jason. Listen, you love them both because of Caitlin Clark. You didn't know neither one of them until Caitlin Clark came about. We only here because of Caitlin Clark. It's the only reason why we talking about WNBA. You're not going to walk into no bar, no Buffalo Wild Wings, and see them having a WNBA game on. You're not going to walk in no sports bar in the casino. No, it's not. So I don't love Aaliyah Boston. I don't love Kelsey Mitchell. I love Caitlin Clark. She's something different we've never seen before. These women are regular degulars. I coach 8th grade boys. They just as talented as the 8th grade boys. We wouldn't be sitting here having these discussions, okay? Women shouldn't even be playing basketball. It's a contact sport. I mean, what are we doing here, Jason? What are we doing? It's a contact sport. I don't want to see women playing basketball. They're not athletic enough. They're not fast enough. They're not none of that. They need to be tennis, golf, volleyball, swimming, track. No contact sports.
Frank, I wasn't expecting you to be this frank. I'm not sure if I agree with you. Your channel is built around the WNBA. You're watching the WNBA, and I get Caitlin Clark is the driving force, but to sit here and argue they shouldn't be playing basketball, that there's no entertainment value out of it, I disagree with that.
I'm disgusted by watching it without Caitlin Clark. It makes basketball have a bad stink to it. Do you understand? Like this is not basketball. I'll be wondering they They be falling all over the floor, running into each other. Like it's almost unwatchable. They be arguing about foul calls where they clearly fouled the girl, like grabbed the girl, and what do you mean? Like, I'm like, do y'all know the rules of the game? I'm confused. Like, you, and then they do the replay. They quick to do this, and guilty. You're guilty. I don't understand your argument, lady. Delusional.
Frank, let me tell you where I agree with you. There's a small thing that I noticed at the end of quarters where I was like, man, this is their profession, and they have no idea. They don't have any concept of, hey, the clock is at 3, 2, 1, right before the end of the quarter or half. They're launching half-court, three-quarter shots with like 2.5 seconds left on the clock. And when you watch men play, they're always in the final second. They time it up because they have a clock. And I'm like, these girls play basketball for a living, and they don't have a clock in their head. I've seen them launch from half court with 3 seconds on the clock. I'm like, they don't even know what they're doing. Anyway, I've seen it. So I agree with you there. Maurice, do you agree with Frank that, like, this is unwatchable without Caitlin Clark?
No, I don't think it's unwatchable because there's other players I enjoy watching, but a lot of it, the thing that does make it unwatchable at times is there are some good players on other teams, but it's a lot of bad players too. So it's like, yeah, you got 2 players I'm interested in seeing, but they're surrounded by people that can't really play, which allows the other team to just foul them nonstop because the refs don't call anything. And that does make these games tough to watch with the officiating, and it's a lot of missed layups as well. And I have to say, like, you guys we had players talking about going on strike in January before the season started. I think you guys might want to be careful because the product isn't all that great yet. It's not there yet. There's a lot of these games, Whitlock, where the score is 32-30 at halftime. Like, that's not entertaining for people to watch. So I think I disagree with it's completely unwatchable without Caitlin Clark, but some of these games, it is a struggle.
Was you watching before Caitlin Clark? I'm sorry, my bad. Was you watching
before
Caitlin Clark?
I did watch certain players before Caitlin Clark. I wasn't locked in on anybody specifically as much as Caitlin Clark, and I did watch players more in college. I knew more about players while they were in college. It's kind of like once they got to the WNBA, they kind of can disappear off your radar, to be honest.
It's man, Frank, I'm so shocked that you dislike the WNBA that much, but I get it. I mean, anybody is capable of missing a wide open layup in the WNBA. Frank, let me ask you this. Do you think, let's leave watchability out of it, do you believe, like a lot of people believe, that Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, doesn't like Caitlin Clark?
She's a DEI hire. She worked for ESPN for years, correct, right? And see, I'm under the belief that Caitlin Clark is being sabotaged from the very top because what she represents is good. What the WNBA represents, this is becoming a race, not a race war, but a spiritual warfare here sooner than later. And when you have who runs the entertainment industry, we already understand what they want to lead you into playing with the devil in his playground, right? So Caitlin Clark represents everything they don't represent, and it seems to me like she won't budge on promoting any propaganda, any agendas. She won't do it. And so it doesn't fit well with what they promote and what they want. So they try to knock her at every turn. That's why the refs turn a blind eye, because they've been instructed to turn a blind eye. This isn't by coinky dink that we see her getting smacked around and grabbed and pulled on every possession almost. So I understand. Look, when you say she crying to the refs too much, I hate that myself. As a coach, I tell my kids, I say, listen, y'all don't say nothing to the refs. That's my job. That's my job. I talk to the refs. We keep playing. We're not going to get certain calls, so on and so forth. That shouldn't stop nothing. But in this case, I've never seen nothing like this before. And so when you don't have the referees calling the calls and you don't have your coaches sticking up for you, it took forever for Christy Sides to get a technical foul for all the bad reffing that was going on against Caitlin Clark. And so it's like she out there on an island and she got to say something. And sometimes she got to flail a little bit more because she's trying to sell it. Like, I don't get none of the calls when they actually punching and pulling and grabbing on me. So let me try to at least, can you call this? And so I understand when she flop. I hate floppers. I hate LeBron James.
No, you can say LeBron on this show.
Yeah. I don't like LeBron James, LBJ, T community. I don't like him. So he does a lot of that type of stuff, whining, crying, flopping around. Don't like it. Caitlin Clark, like I said, she is really being targeted to the point where you got guys writing she needs to have a civil lawsuit filed against the league. And it all makes sense. There's so much evidence of hatred and so-called racism that they want to put on Caitlin Clark. And so, you know, I don't like this league.
Frank, I agree with you in this element or in this way. I do believe the league, the DEI, the LGBTQIA plus element of the WNBA, they want to break Caitlin Clark. And until they break her, they're never going to accept her. It's not the fact that she's white, because they love Paige Beckers, because she's on the Alphabet Mafia team. And I look at Indiana, and this is, Maurice, I'm going to come to you with this question, piggyback off Frank here. But I think hiring Stephanie White as the head coach was, because Stephanie White, when people really understand her background, she was Caitlin Clark years ago as a player. I'm from Indiana. She set Indiana on its ear as a high school basketball player, had the whole state into her high school basketball career, you know, selling out high school games, goes to Purdue, elevates Purdue to a national championship team. Carolyn Peck is the coach. They're having sellouts at Purdue, and she elevated attendance. And like Caitlin Clark, Stephanie White came out of college married to her high school sweetheart. And then the WNBA got a hold of her, and she left her high school sweetheart. And now she's Lisa Salter's bottom chick. And so it's never made sense to me, like, hey, man, who are they surrounding Caitlin Clark with? Why aren't they surrounding her with people like Sophie Cunningham, who seem to have the same sort of sexual orientation and love of Taylor Swift, and just, they're not surrounding her with that. They're surrounding her with people. DeWanna Bonner. The way DeWanna Bonner played last night, you have to sit there and go, who would put DeWanna Bonner on the same team as Caitlin Clark? DeWanna Bonner last night was going at Lexi Hall and Sophie Cunningham like they were the KKK. And Stephanie White coached DeWanna. Yeah, Stephanie White coached DeWanna Bonner for 2 years in Connecticut, and that's who you bring to be the leader, the vet on your Indiana Fever team? Insanity. Maurice, your response.
Like I said, I think the Indiana Fever did a horrible job from the top down. Amber Cox, Kelly Crosskoff have done a terrible job putting the roster together along with Stephanie White. I didn't even like the Stephanie White hire to begin with. I didn't feel that she's a part of the old guard, and the style that Caitlin Clark plays does not fit with what Stephanie White is naturally comfortable with. You know, they say you can teach a fighter to fight a certain way, and they're going to do that until they start getting hit upside the head. And when anything goes wrong, Stephanie White goes to what she knows, which is this slow, boring basketball that people did not enjoy watching at all. That's just her nature. I feel like the locker room the one thing that Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell asked was to protect the locker room. And what did they do? They went and ruined the locker room before the fans and the media could even see the team get together with who they brought in. You brought in the wrong teammates for Caitlin Clark, and it is as simple as that. You can look at her Iowa team and see what type of players and what type of people, because the people matter. You got to remember, you're dealing with these people sometimes you see these people more than your family. You're in the locker room with them every day. You're on the team bus with them. You're on the planes with them. You're in the hotels with them. So the actual person behind the jersey matters. And I don't feel like they did a good job putting this group together.
Yeah, they did a terrible job. I will say, I think last night the group got humbled and needed to get humbled. And I noticed something. I don't know if this is how intensely I watch the game, because I love when they show the camera shots. I love to see who's sitting next to Caitlin Clark on the bench. And generally speaking, the black girls leave a chair between themselves and Caitlin Clark. Only people you'll see sitting next to Caitlin Clark injured, or even when she's healthy, generally speaking, is Lexi Hall and Sophie Cunningham. Everybody else leaves a chair like Caitlin Clark is spoiled milk. Last night, after they got embarrassed, I don't know if y'all saw late in the game, but Aaliyah Boston was hugged up gossiping with Caitlin Clark, because I think Aaliyah Boston figured out last night, like, oh boy, them easy buckets I was getting because of Caitlin Clark, boy, do I miss them. And so I go ahead, Maurice.
Sorry about that. And you know who else has, obviously, Aaliyah Boston has suffered, I would say, the most because she got a lot of easy baskets. But I think it is a flat-out travesty what Stephanie White has done to Lexi Hall. Lexi Hall was a part of the core four to help things turn around last season. And, yeah, she shot terrible last night. She's been shooting terrible the last 5 games. But let's really think about it. Lexi Hall earned the right to be a part of the core of this team with how she played last season and with her opportunities in the beginning of the season. DeWanna Bonner comes here. Lexi Hall gets thrown to the back burner. DeWanna Bonner quits on the team, takes a max contract, and then leaves. We throw in Lexi Hall in a state of emergency because Sophie Cunningham's hurt. She plays great. We sign Ari McDonald. Lexi Hall gets thrown back to the bench. We take Ari McDonald out of the starting lineup, put Lexi Hall in. She plays great. Sophie Cunningham comes back. We put Sophie in the starting lineup and throw Lexi Hall to the back burner again. So I feel like Lexi Hall is a shot fighter out there. Her confidence is gone. It is a travesty what Stephanie White has done to Lexi Hall this season.
Frank, I'll give you the final word, then I'm going to let you guys go.
All right, yeah. Thank you, Jason, because I wanted to ask you, too. This is the weirdest thing. Back to Stephanie White.
Oh, go ahead.
Back to Stephanie White. Because you've been around for a long time. You've been a part of this game and doing your thing for a long time. And you know about coaches' contracts and players' contracts and so on and so forth. Now, Stephanie White was under contract for the Connecticut Sun for this year. She cried her way out. They let her out due to her saying she basically wasn't thinking about coaching again. And this is why I feel like she's a DEI hire, because where do they let you out of your contract and then a week later you sign with a rival team? Where do they do that at, Jason? Have you ever seen that done before? I'm just curious.
Not only a rival team, but you get to quit your team, and then basically you get the best job in the WNBA. You get to go coach and play in front of 16,000, 17,000 people every night and develop, cultivate the biggest star in the history of the WNBA. Yeah, it makes no sense unless you had a plan of, hey, look, we got to get Caitlin Clark on board with the movement, with the message. This is a platform to promote the LGBTQ. This is a platform to promote the victimization of black women. This is a platform to promote feminism. And Caitlin Clark, really, if you just look at her, she wants to hoop, she wants to go to Taylor Swift concerts, and that's about it. And the rest of these girls, look at, and I'm extending this conversation. I think Angel Reese is laying down right now and not playing because she don't really love basketball. She loves what basketball can do for her. If Angel Reese could snap her fingers right now and be a 5'6" hot girl rather than a 6'3" basketball player, she'd snap her finger in an instant, start an OnlyFans, and be done with it. And I don't think she's playing basketball because she's 6'3" and now has this mysterious back injury that's keeping her out of games. But when she wanted to justify her all-star appearance, she went on a run the 10 games before the All-Star game when she figured. Remember when the first voting came out for the All-Star game and she was 13th? Yeah, she hit the panic button and said, I better go on an All-Star campaign, up my play, effort, blah, blah, blah. Once she made the All-Star team and enhanced her marketing, blah, 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 now she's laying down as, I got a back injury, I can't play anymore. This league is a soap opera, and that's why we do, As the WNBA Turns. It's fascinating. If either one of you got a final thought, go ahead and fire it off, and then we'll be done.
Go ahead, Pope.
Jason, I'm going to say to that Angel Reese, look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Nah, that's Angel Reese dropping turds on the game, not working on her game, not deserving of the fame, missing wide open lays like she played with a broken wing.
Maurice, can you top that or should we be done?
I don't know if I can top that because I can't rap, but I will say the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese, they'll continue to be the gum on the bottom of the shoe of the league. They're not going to beat nobody.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Awesome job. I can go into my weekend. I had some great WNBA talk. I need a cigarette right now. That was amazing.
Gotta have it. You can get it from Hadley, though. He's got some.
Yeah, that was amazing. The fact, and this wasn't my intent, because we've reached out to other YouTubers. I think it's Larry from Black and White Sports. There's Greg. We've reached out, and they're going to be on next week. A couple of white guys that are Clarkies, YouTubers. It's not intentional that all these guys that I've had on so far are black guys, but I do think it's fascinating. And I saw Ak Nation make this point on his channel. Is like, there's this media story here about black guys that love Caitlin Clark. And that they want to spin this racial narrative, but the black dudes ain't on board with it because we see a baller who's exciting and like to talk about it. It's, you know, for me, and some people criticize, I can't believe how much you talk to the, man, I love sports. And I love things that are interesting in sports. And I love things in sports that allow me to make a bigger argument about what's going on in American culture. And using sports as a platform to promote the LGBTQ, feminism, Black Lives Matter, all of this stuff is important. And to see other black content creators that recognize this and call it out, it's the media wants to ignore that this stuff is even going on, but it is.
It's a good point. I mean, I had the same observation I think everybody has. Like, all of these Clarkies are black, all of them so far, and on this show. And what is interesting, though, is have you ever met a black woman that's a Caitlin Clark fan?
There are some.
Ooh.
Yeah, I
Sage Steele? That's it. Sage Steele.
No, there's some YouTubers out there. I wanted to have this Adrienne Ross on. I think she's but you know, she responded in such a black feminist response to me making an innocent comment. I was like, I don't know. And maybe we will have her on. Maybe I'll change my mind and give her a second chance. But there are some, yes.
I bet you it's 10% of the black men. Not meaning 10% as many. There's 10 times as many black men that are Caitlin Clark fans than black women.
Without question. Yeah. No, look, it's unstated. And this is why I like talking about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. Black women have a white woman derangement syndrome. They dress up as white women. If we counted the number of black women that have these weaves flowing down to the to their butts. That's a derangement. You're putting on, who are you mimicking and why?
White women are doing the same thing with their lip injections, and everybody's trying to be somebody else. White women are doing a lot to look like black
BBLs.
women.
But I don't. If you watched last night, DeWanna Bonner literally played like it was Mississippi burning out there, and she was fighting the KKK. She was going after Lexi Hole almost from the incident. I'm like, maybe Lexi Hole is a real B behind the scenes. I don't know.
I mean, she's best friends with Sophie now and was best friends with Caitlin 5 minutes ago. And, you know, she might just be an attractive white woman, and that is really off-putting to these black women.
But DeWanna Bonner went at Lexi Hole like she stole her girlfriend. Anyway.
Shamika says her daughter is a Caitlin Clark fan, so there we go.
Yeah, there we go. There's a lot. I think there's more than you would realize. All right, we're going to move to the Harmony Channel here in right straight up noon, top of the hour. TJ and I are going to discuss Charlie Kirk, Megyn Kelly, and Nick Fuentes on the Harmony Channel. If you saw the conversation between Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk, it was fascinating. I think he was on Megyn Kelly's show, and they had a conversation about how they're being framed as anti-Semitic, and they're pushing back. And you know, I'm glad they're doing it, but I could have told them that they would be framed as anti-Semitic once they said anything that Israel, the Zionists, disagreed with. And I'm going to bring Nick Fuentes into the conversation because he went after Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens in an interesting way, and he's at the heart of this disagreement or what's going on in the conservative movement. We'll do that on the Harmony Channel at noon straight up. We'll play tomorrow, and we'll see you on this channel next week.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on the corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free.